Roll.
All right, everybody take a look at the back. Generally, since we live in Gwinnett County, we're going to do our business starting in Gwinnett County. That's what your test will sit down. We go through all the different parts there, some different things that it asks you for. You take a look at this application up there for Gwinnett County. There's a couple things about it. One is you have to do it in person. You can't do it online. The thing is make sure you have all your paperwork there. If you take a look here, obviously the first part is just if you paid or not and how much you paid. Gwinnett is a little interesting in the fact that their business license is based on what you anticipate your revenue to be. Other counties, we had business up in Athens, Clark County, they based your business license tax on the amount of employees you had. So everybody does something a little differently. Some do it just based on, you just want to apply for a business license, it just costs so much money. Gwinnett does it based on future revenues. You have to anticipate what your sales are going to be. We come in here, but look at question number one. Question number one is what? What is your legal platform? And on the question you have to ask on the test, I said, what is your legal platform and what are they? And so there's 4 legal platforms. Some of you all put down 6. It's 4 legal platforms for a business. And they are, the easiest one to do is what?
Sole proprietorship.
Sole proprietorship is basically you don't do anything. Next after that is partnership, because now you got a couple people getting together. That helps a little bit with time and with money, getting money. Next is
Corporation.
corporation. Corporation is set up under the guideline of the Secretary of State for the particular state that you want to do business, or that you incorporate in. Again, most banks are incorporated in the state of Delaware. In Georgia, you go through the Secretary of State in Georgia to do theirs. Mine, I always did through the Secretary of State in Wyoming. In fact, I still have a couple of Wyoming corporations. And the last one is limited liability company, which is set up again under the Secretary of State. And what state was the first one to start LLCs? Wyoming. Right. And they did just as tax revenue, and they hit a home run there. And what a limited liability company is basically it's just like a partnership, except in an LLC you have limited liability for all the people involved with it. Now, owners of a corporation are called what? Stockholders or shareholders. Okay, stockholders or shareholders. Owners of a LLC are called members. Owners of a partnership are called? No. Owners of a partnership are called? Partners. Very good. Okay, what did I say? What's my suggestion of an alternate word used for sole proprietorship and partnership was? S word? Stupid. Because you have what? Unlimited liability. It's amazing how many of y'all put down where we're going to do a sole proprietorship because you're just one person or it's this or that. Guys, you look at an unlimited liability. In a corporation and an LLC, your liability is limited to the amount of money you have invested in that business. Okay? And it just comes down, scroll down, Joe. And there's some more information on there, address, those type of things, what's your mailing address, your locations you're going to be at. If you have a different business name than you have as far as your corporate or LLC name. Okay. Who's contact person, who's the president, CEO, member, partners, all different types of things. Information for the partnership, corporation, LLC, they want to know when all was started, dates. And, okay, all right, federal tax ID number. Okay. You've got to have that number of employees, type of work you're doing. And look at this list here on the bottom. You've got to have a copy of your driver's license for a home-based business, lease agreement, certificate of occupancy if you're a commercial-based business. You have to show that you're a U.S. citizen. The E-Verify showing that all your employees are real, are not aliens, that they are residents of the country legally allowed to work here. And your corporate papers if you're a corporation or LLC. Okay. Now, thing on this though is you have to have there's things you got to do before you do your business license. Okay. Now move to the next one over. It should be IRS page. On this one, this is for your EIN. What is an EIN? Employer Identification Number. Okay? And an EIN is just like a Social Security number, except it's for businesses. Now, if you go to the wrong site, there's plenty of people that want to get it to you, but they're going to charge you $180, $250, whatever. Go on the IRS site, it's free. Just very easy to do. You just get it right here. There are hours, I think it's like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time is the time that you can get it, but it's very, very easy to get an EIN. You just fill this out. You're going to need it pretty much for everything you're doing in a business, especially if you have employees, because you've got to do payroll taxes. Okay, we'll go over to the next one. Okay, now, doing business in Georgia, you've got to pay sales tax, or if you're buying stuff for your business, you want to be sales tax exempt for the purchases that you make for your business. They're going to be for resale. Let's say you're doing a clothing store. But you don't want to pay tax on the clothing that you buy, then have to charge tax again on the clothing that you sell. So you get a reseller's permit. So Georgia Secretary, Georgia sales tax under the Department of Revenue does it. So you've got to apply for your sales tax number. It's just a number that you get that you use in your correspondence. And what the state does is they have you collect sales tax for them. Now be really careful, because this is really an easy way to get in trouble. So you collect the sales tax and you don't pay it back to them, they really get pretty hostile on that. Okay? So with this one, depending on the amount of money you're collecting, you're either going to pay every month or every 3 months, the sales tax you collect. And the Department of Revenue will pay you a little bit of money to collect the sales tax for them. And then if you have somebody that has the sales tax exempt, you have to be able to prove that they're sales tax exempt, so they can ask you for certifications for that. Okay, move over. Board of Workers' Compensation. What is workers' compensation for? It's for workers that are injured while on the job. Now, with workman's compensation, nice thing, if an employee gets injured on the job, if you have workman's comp, that employee cannot sue you. They have to take whatever the Board of Workmen's Compensation will give you. Now, in Georgia, Wyoming is a mandatory state, where in Wyoming you have to pay, only the state provides workers' comp. And so you have to buy your policy through the state. In Georgia, Georgia doesn't provide workers' comp coverage, so you have to get it from an independent insurance agency. So if you have employees, you need workman's comp. It covers employees while working injured on the job. Okay? And it's amazing how much fraud there is in workers' comp. You know, guys going to their court hearing for workers' comp in a wheelchair and look like death warmed over, and the next day they're out videotaped while they're playing football with their kids and having a grand old time. Okay, so a lot of potential fraud there. Okay, next one. Okay, Department of Labor. This is one that gets a lot of employers stuck. Remember we talked a while back, what's the difference between a W-2 and a 1099? A W-2 means that you're an employee. A 1099 means you are a contractor. And so many employers will try and call their, basically the workers, people that they have for them, contractors, that they contract them to do the work rather than employees. Because on an employee, you have to pay unemployment tax, you have to pay half the FICA taxes, you have to deduct federal income tax, state income tax from the employee's paycheck, you got to turn all these things in, you got to pay for workers' compensation for them, a whole host of things. So people find it's cheaper just to call them an independent contractor. And a lot of times what will happen is the employee ends up in December, they don't get a W-4, they have no tax deducted out of their paycheck, and so they're stuck for all these taxes at the end of the year, not realizing that they had this error. Their paycheck's a little bit higher, they didn't ask questions during the year, but now they've got this huge bill they have to pay. In addition, should they get injured on the job, they have no workers' comp coverage. Any injuries, it's their responsibility. And if they were to get laid off during the year, there's not enough hours, they can't claim unemployment compensation because they're not an employee. They haven't been employed. And so employers that illegally tag their workers as 1099s, contractors versus employees, if IRS or state government finds out about it, they are host to all sorts of huge fines, penalties. It'll end up being one of the most costly things you ever do. So you got to be really careful with this. Two places they get caught is, person gets laid off, goes to the Department of Labor, files for unemployment compensation, they find out that they weren't a job, they go investigate the employer, whoa, things don't go well from there. Or people getting ready to file their taxes, they can't pay because no money was deducted from my paycheck. IRS gets involved, and they're the big bad boys on the block. You don't want to irritate them whatsoever. Okay. So these are the main things that you're looking at doing for a business. All these things have to be kind of set up, but you have to do them in the right order. First thing you got to have is you have to have your EIN, your employer identification number. But before you get your employer identification number, you have to have your legal platform set up. You have to know what it is you want to be. So set up your legal platform, get your EIN and EIEIO, and then you're going to go through the other stages. And then once you have all these things put together, because the county's also going to ask for your state sales tax number. So you got to have your sales tax taken care of, employee identification number, legal platform, all those. And then some of y'all made it sound like it's really hard to get a business license. It's not. You just have to have all this paperwork done. Okay. Hard thing in a business, what's the hardest thing to do about starting a business? What's going to be your hardest thing?
Funding for it.
Getting money for it. Very good. How am I going to pay for all this stuff? Where do I get the money from? How do I do it? So that's going to be your biggest thing. Once you get the money and get started, no problems with that. Okay? Folks, am I interrupting y'all? Are you sure? All right, so test we did yesterday, I'm going to be going through these and visiting with y'all individually. But this is the basic groundwork for getting the business going. The hard thing, coming up with a good idea, determining your market, getting your money, your funding, putting it all together. This part basically is fairly simple, just a little bit time consuming. Okay?